Alright guys, here we're going to talk about Season 1, Episode 10 of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Nightmares.
That title kind of gives everything away. I don't watch the, read the titles before I watch them and stuff.
Well, fortunately for you, they also don't like pop up like some shows do in the very beginning.
It's not like popped
But
up.
yeah, so it starts off, ironically, in a nightmare, Buffy's very own first time meeting of the Master.
No!
It does not go well, but fortunately Joyce comes to the rescue and wakes her up.
It's time to get up for school. Huh? Are you all right? No.
I was like, you're a chump. You're having nightmares? You're supposed to be tough. You're supposed to be the Slayer. What's wrong with you?
Well, we've been having nightmares and dreams throughout
Also, how
the
does
whole
she know
thing.
what the Master looks like? They haven't met officially.
This is a pet peeve I have of many things.
Okay.
Not particularly this episode. It actually didn't jump out at me, but overall I've had this a lot of times where people have these dreams of a person and it is that person.
Yeah.
And unless you're stating they have some sort of like oh, it's a prophetic dream or something like that, which the Slayer kind of does have a thing like that. There is like dreaming of past Slayer stuff and this and that. So like, I'm like, okay, we can let that be a thing.
Well, it must be a thing because later when she meets the Dream Master, he knows he's her dream.
This isn't real. You can't be free.
You still don't understand, do you? I am free because you fear it.
I'm real because you're afraid of me, and he goes through and stuff.
So I did have questions throughout this episode about things like that. So like let's talk about that moment right there. So you meet Dream Master, who references himself being a dream, and I wonder, is her dream pulling him out of being trapped, and that is like, does the Master know some stuff, and that is the Master? Because we meet her father earlier.
Okay, I was just gonna say, because does that mean that that was her real father being a horrible father?
I don't really get anything out of these weekends with you. So, what do you say we just don't do them anymore?
And does he not remember it? Because that means the Master is not going to remember it either.
Yes. So that would be my assumption. Would be if it indeed is perverting the actual people, yes, they just go back to doing whatever they did. And if not, it would have been nice to see, like, as her father turned that corner, like him to disappear or something.
Like a hint that it's all, like, are they real spiders? Was that a real opera man?
Yes.
Like, what are we doing here exactly? Yes.
But so, like, this episode has the very first mention of Buffy's father. We hadn't talked about him at all, but there
I forgot
he is.
she had a father.
Well, everyone has.
I didn't. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I didn't realize the father was ever even featured on the show. It might show up a lot later. I'm not going to look at your face for micro reactions that spoil the whole show for me. I didn't. I like remembered like a single mom type of vibe in the whole thing. So I didn't realize the father was a thing. I'm not sure if he's going to continue to be a thing.
They go into the detail about that situation, and it kind of like forces the hand of what the nightmare may display to us of, like, this want to be loved type of situation she has there, this potential cause of the downfall of their marriage, which kids don't cause things like that. They all think they did, but they don't.
Was there someone else?
No, it was nothing like that.
Then what was it?
It was you.
So we start early on with a series of nightmares coming to reality, and we have a child who has a fear of spiders twisted from his love of spiders.
Such backstory for the Spider Kid. I thought was hilarious.
Did you recognize the Spider Kid?
He looked familiar, but no.
He is the kid from Monster Man, a movie we reviewed on our other channel.
Which kid?
He is the fat one.
Oh. The one that I hate.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
So he's less fat here with longer hair.
This is before he absorbed Guy Fieri's essence and became powerful. Yeah.
But that's neither here nor there. But they do continue their trend of, like, interviewing people.
We just thought you might want to talk about what happened.
Yesterday with the spiders.
A little odd, because if you came up to me randomly asking me questions about a trauma, I'd be like, who the fuck are you?
Oh,
Get
especially the one in the hospital.
Yeah.
Where they're like, how you doing? I'm all right. Okay, that sucks. Now, can you tell us everything that just they lean in, like, tell us what happened.
Are you the librarian?
Can you tell us what happened?
The librarian and some bitch I said hi to a few times are suddenly interviewing me. Yeah, like they have no authority. They have no. It isn't like this is the junior detective squad and like, okay, kid, we'll humor you. I guess this happened here.
It has that like airs of like the mystery files of Shelby Woo. Like we've got to get to the bottom of this. Right. And like it's fine because it literally they are like these little tiny dots in the episodes. So they don't really bother me too much. But I always thought it'd be funny if at least somebody would react with like, why the fuck would I talk to you?
Why would I tell you? Because this episode simultaneously plays up because Buffy, changes in every episode. She's either like a tough, independent girl, or she's literally like, oh no, I'm not worried about dad not showing up. Oh no, like a super kid wearing PJs and being like whatever. So in this episode, she's like very much like a kid, but she's also walking around being like, hey, tell me your story, and everyone's like, oh, thank God you're here. I told the cops, but they won't do anything. Let me tell you, or something like, what? Why would you do this?
During that whole freak out of the spider, she does notice a boy in the hallway.
Shelter is to be heard. Wendell, would you read the first 2 paragraphs on page 78 where Isaacson describes the rapid improvement?
So like that's creepy. It's also kind of weird.
Didn't like that they picked a kid. I'm not saying he looks like the Anointed One, but he's a similar type of kid. I would have liked a radically different looking kid.
They would have liked Haley Joel Osment.
Walker told me I have AIDS.
I mean, was he available?
I'm sure he wasn't.
Can we make this happen?
We could try.
All right.
I'll see what I can do. I like everybody's fears coming into like the forefront here, and it's fun how like some people get hit multiple times. Some people's fears are ludicrous. Other people's fears are like this could kill the entire Earth type of things.
So that's critical because this episode's kind of goofy. But what I love about it is that people get hit with multiple different things. Yeah. Like maybe even if they overcome or kind of deal with one thing, right? And people's things interact with other people and other people's things. Yeah. Like everything's all just really happening. And a lot of these things, one person is being chased by a clown, one person's like, oh, they're all pointing and laughing because you're naked, one person's this, and then like as soon as someone else shows up, it's all like gone because it was just in their head, or it's like not whatever. But here, like Willow opens the window and it's just giant wasps outside, and they're like, better hurry up.
Whatever it is, it better be soon.
And it's just like because everything's overflowing into the world, and I'm like, okay, this is like Jumanji, where it's like, what's that? Everyone's seeing everything happen, and like that I think elevates this beyond the usual, like, oh, he doesn't like, oh, Giles is afraid of not being able to read. Hilarious. Like, it's not just that. It keeps snowballing and piling up.
And I love how they display this dream world because it does have that feel of a dream. I walk through the store, wait a minute, that's not where that goes. But like, like disorientation, not knowing where you are, things not making sense, night and day changing, but still not making you question it too much.
Best shot of the episode when they go through the hedge. And it's like daytime schoolyard, and they go, and it's like nighttime, whatever. And they do that oldest trick in the book where it's just like panning the camera over. And it's like, is that lined the hedge? It's just kind of, oh wait, we're in a graveyard. It's that whole thing, And later they kind of do the opposite, where like Xander is like, why is it all dark over there? And it's this gross like 90s looking like field of, it's like Hercules is trapped in the portal's gonna close. It's like that looking thing.
The bad guy felt like like the club fist man. Or
worst part of the episode.
He felt like a Hercules villain.
Okay.
To me. With his like rubber club that you can see at certain times as he hits it, it distorts a little bit.
Bending around. Sweet.
And even the way he strikes the girl in the basement with that convenient no smoking because smoking kills or whatever sign.
No, Stephen, that's art.
How he's pausing, it was not the best part of the episode. It was
he's
the humor and like the weird things like the callbacks, honestly, because in the last episode we mentioned a couple fears. So like Willow didn't want to sing because she's afraid of stage fright.
True.
And then we get stage frighted in this one. We see Xander go mime because he doesn't like clowns, and in this episode he's chased by a clown.
God. Easter egg Andy over
here. There's a little subtle like drop of like I'm not scared of spiders. Like if a Nazi were to crawl on my face.
How do they not ruffle you?
I'm sorry, I'm unruffled by spiders. Now if a bunch of Nazis crawled all over my face.
And then like as he first enters the frame, there's swastikas on the wall, and you're like, are there gonna be Nazis?
Were there did they chicken out and not put Nazis in there? I thought the clown made his swastikas. I have no idea. No.
He may have.
Might have been a Nazi clown.
If there were Nazi.
He's making balloon swastikas.
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna try to formulate. My mind wouldn't get the words. Yeah.
And puts up the thing. That would have been amazing.
Yeah, but we see Xander be a boss. He's the only one that
He
really
faces his
stands up
fears.
and faces his fears. He punches a knife-wielding clown in the face. Even if you're not scared of that, it's still a dude with a knife. He's like, you know, just like knocks that sucker out.
I unironically love that. Him, and he even says, he like does this whole big like
Yeah.
body motion, like, no, I'm done with this, and like turns around, right, and gets
Just facing your fears is liberating. He feels better. The
Exactly.
weight is off.
He faces his fears, and they even call it out. He's, they go outside, and Giles says something like, "Well, you're the only one, so we better go. We better get moving."
I feel good. I feel liberated.
You seem to be the only one.
I want to comment a little more about the ugly face,
Sure.
man. Worst part of the episode to me. I feel like he was just there to give Buffy an excuse to like physically fight someone.
Yeah.
And he looked dumb and almost made no sense. I know he's like Billy's fear or something.
Yes.
But it doesn't really map.
He is what
onto
Billy
the,
sees the coach as.
I
Like,
guess, right? I don't know.
I would have
didn't
liked
like
something
it.
better as if when like they first knock him out or something, it turned into the coach or something like that happened.
Yeah. I don't know how they could have made that work for me. But it was just, I was like, ah.
You also see Xander grab that fucking child beater at the end.
Yes.
Yeah, again. I mean, Giles helped.
It wasn't my fault. There's 8 other players on the team. You know that.
Little Chris Hansen action going on.
Yeah, you got it to catch. a
Dig
predator.
it.
I thought that's just weird. Where I'm like, let's just rationally think about that situation though. Oh no, we lost the game. And they've made very careful choice to never say Little League. They kept saying like mini league or
I
something.
believe
World League, whatever.
Kitty League.
Kitty League, yeah.
Because I think Little League is an actual copyrighted thing.
Maybe.
And you are not allowed to besmirch Little League by insinuating that a child. I always want to say child molester, but I guess he.
Yeah, he's not. He's a beater.
He like molested him with his fists or a bat or something. Whatever. Yes.
But that whole thing, just picture. Oh no, we lost the game. You lost it for me, Timmy. Oh, and beats him with a bat.
Yeah. Imagine being that angry
And then,
that
like,
angry at a kid.
doesn't kill him though. Like his
Yeah.
plan is he'll be in a coma forever. I'll never get in trouble.
I better keep going to check on him every day.
Well, I gotta keep up appearances.
Well, and make sure that he hasn't woken up
I guess.
so you can finish the job.
You didn't even see him immediately get violent though when he did see him get up. Like he was gonna try to So I'm like, what was your goal?
Well,
here?
he's surrounded by.
But you now have to witnesses. You gotta take him out.
You gotta systematically murder all these
Pretty
people
much.
now, and then go visit them in the hospital because they'll just end up in comas, and just keeps until his whole day is just a huge checklist of people to visit in the hospital.
Rough.
No, it's super weird that the episode is about like a literal, I guess, child abuse or child violence thing. That's crazy.
And it all comes down to the last
Yeah.
moment when you
Yes.
realize it's like, oh, all right.
And I'm not saying that it shouldn't be in there or is like not allowed to be in there, but that's a crazy like jackknife weird ending. It's twist.
It kind of starts out weird though, with the
Yes.
idea of like this kid who's having a bad nightmare trip in his coma reality is bringing out everyone else's. Like it would have
Yeah.
made a little bit more sense if all these nightmares were coming from him and those
They
were
were
what
his
was plaguing.
nightmares,
Because
yes.
even to the basest of lines, like why is he hanging around the high school as a ghost? If I'm a ghost, I'd probably hang around my own school where I could see people I know and fuck with them, or at least be like, oh, let me look in the girls' locker, like
Because
something.
high schoolers are the most afraid. No, I don't know.
I don't know, but it just felt a little
it's
strange.
no, the whole thing is strange. Like I said before, like the episode's goofy, and like that's
Mm-hmm.
what I mean. Because Giles just says, because someone says maybe it's astral projecting, and then Giles is like, well, in the Hellmouth, I guess you can get anything. Like he just throws some line out there. Where I'm like, all right, and I don't know how much of a trend that becomes. I remember the show having more of an overarching thing happening with like thing of the week. in
Season
there.
one, you're still figuring stuff
finding
out.
yourself,
you have like
yeah.
fun concepts. Like, what if they face their fears? And, oh yeah,
Yes.
all right. And like, how do we do that? Somehow, we just do this. whatever.
No, and like viewed in that context, like I said before too. If you just want to shove in a bunch of weird fears and have outlandish stuff happening, I think this did a pretty good job.
I don't understand.
But,
Oh, yeah, you got the outline, like
executing
Cordy's fucking thing of like
Yes.
her hair and then being on like the math team or chess team or whatever.
What are you doing? No! You don't understand! I'm not even on the chess team, I swear I'm not!
being dragged in there. I'm not even on the chest, and it's just other nerds with
Yeah.
like weird like.
They're like the
taped
nerds
glasses.
from Saved by the Bell.
Yeah.
Like they're like the perfect nerds.
Yeah.
Lady, my mom personally selects my attire.
like from like Revenge of the Nerds.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
like old school nerds who like probably like there's no one who dresses like that who goes to that this school in real
Most
life.
likely not.
And they're just dragging her in there for her like whatever. Even Buffy's thing, before you even know that it's like a thing, because I think looking back, you're like, oh, there was no history test. This is all just that. But at the time, you're like, wait, what? Because this feels just like a normal history
Well,
test.
it felt weird because Cordelia coming in there just to like cue a thing is like not normal. Like, hope you're ready for the history test. That's not something she would say.
And they even make it feel weird because like the time skip when she's looking at the clock and stuff. So something's up, but you're not sure like what it is yet. I actually thought because of how they introed Cordelia doing all that, and she's waiting by the door for Buffy too. It's like very strange. So I'm like, oh, she's gonna cheat off of Cordelia, and this will be how they start to bond. Because I didn't know when that happens or whatever. But yes, there we go.
No.
Yes.
I loved the fact that like it kind of gets vibes of Bill and Ted's Bogus Journeys at times, like especially like when Xander takes over walking down the hallway, like Candy and like the clown comes. That's kind of like his Easter bunny. Like I like that.
That's my first thought.
The little pulls are fun, like the guy who's acting all tough with his leather jacket and his glasses and his mom kissing him and stuff. I'm like, that's funny.
Oh, there's my little baby.
Mom, what are you doing here?
He's
The
embarrassed.
little fears are what adds up.
The surgeon is my hands.
Well, that's a pretty common one.
Of course.
Yeah.
Is the boy Billy still here?
My hands.
Now I have to learn magic instead. Yes.
Yeah, you know, Buffy's fear of being buried alive, and she gets buried alive.
Yes.
Sarah Michelle Gellar actually has that fear in real life. So this was a traumatic experience for her.
no.
You know, Giles is afraid of her dying and gets to see that.
Yes.
He also like can't read and gets lost in the library stacks, so that's always fun.
I like the overlapping fears too. We talked about where like the fears are interacting because like she was afraid of being buried. Giles, was like afraid for her, so he gets to express his real feelings of like I shouldn't have pushed her so hard. She's so gifted though, but evil is oh no, what do I do? Yeah.
And then she becomes a vampire.
Yeah, I was saying, well, what we are of course getting to is that she becomes a frickin' vampire. That's amazing.
So I've always in my head added this, and I don't know if it's anything the writers did or whatever. So when she first fought against like the ugly man, the club-handed man, she lost like very like.
And she's afraid of him. Yeah,
and then
I agree with you.
She beats him the second time, and I'm like, is it because now she has Slayer strength mixed with vampire strength?
Literally, yes.
I want that to be something that is on purpose and not just like as it seems.
No, because she's super afraid of like ugly trench coat man, and she even says to Billy like, no, he's too strong. We have to run. He's like, no, we have to hide. And she's like, oh God. And then later she says like, there are things scarier than you.
There are a lot scarier things than you. And I'm one of them.
And I'm one of them, and comes into the light to reveal her vampiric
but
features.
the only issue I have is if she wasn't a vampire at all, that would be the same thing that would happen because there's no time left on the episode.
Okay,
and
sure, yes.
So like that's why I don't say for sure yes that's exactly what
I'm
it is.
Completely on board.
I've again it's my therery for a reason. I want it to be true, but just based on how things generally wrap up neatly in that last 2 minutes, 1 minute for the actual wrap up, 1 minute for a joke at the end, type of thing. I can't say definitively that's what it is, but let us know in the comments below.
I don't know if that's what was intended, but I too.
Yes.
Before you said anything, I also am like, yes, that is what happened here.
Yeah, and I'd like to test that strength and know exactly how stronger she is.
I would like to get a power meter in the back of the comic that explains how much powerful. Is it multiplicative? Is it like additive? How does it work? No, like I like that a lot. I like that. It's weird that she has the. I guess maybe it's not weird because she's not a real vampire. She's like a fake vampire.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't do the thing where she loses her soul. She has like the angel version of being a vampire. Where she's like, don't look at me. Oh no, this is so bad.
And is that because she's the Slayer? She's able to hold on to her humanity, or is it just because it's an episode and there's some random bullshit?
Right? Is it just random?
Always
This
hard
is
to
how
say.
it works out. I know.
So two funny things in this episode that I want to call out is when Willow is stuck on stage and has to sing.
Yes.
The guy goes and she's like, "My turn." He's like, "Mm-hmm."
My turn.
That was funny. The way Xander attacks candy bars, and he's like a child.
Someone else's loss is my chocolatey goodness.
Because he like is eating a bite of everyone he comes across, and I think that's just wonderful.
And just out loud, I love these. This is great. Just walking.
Someone's loss is my gain, or something
right?
like that. And his mouth is like full of candy. Like part of me is like he just wanted to eat this candy, so he takes a bite of each one each time. That way he gets as much candy as he wants.
Reset the candy.
Yeah.
And then he's like, I guess someone has to finish all his candy. I've already bitten it.
It would be bad for the environment if I weren't to finish it. Don't want to be wasteful.
It would be wasteful, yeah.
This episode did something great for plot, I want to say, where I think the master had a wonderful explanation of what a cross does. And
I agree.
And I didn't remember this verbatim over the times I watched this, but I love explaining it as like, I was like, no, it fills you with an intense feeling of fear.
Yeah.
And that is a great explanation for why people are pushed away and why some people aren't, because as he says, like everyone reacts differently to it. Like while he's able to grab it and just feel the burn, the same way Angel is able to get burned across his chest.
Exactly.
And like why some people are recoiled and shot away because they're bitches.
Planks of wood. It confounds me. Suffuses me with mortal dread.
Yeah, this episode is like about fear, and it's about overcoming your fear, which he even he verbatim describes it, right? Like you said, it fills me with a mortal dread that but I can control. And then I loved him touching it too, and you hear like the sizzling noise.
You see smoke.
And then he goes like, see, whatever. Yes, exactly. So some people may not be used to it or may not be like prepared for it or something, right? And that's why, because in all these scenes too, even in like other vampire things, when you whip out the cross, the vampires freak out, but then after a while they're kind of like, I think I have an angle here, I can do this, and they might try to do something anyway, right? Which is like how that would work. You'd kind of get used to it, and it'd be like a thing.
I think it's very well done. It's a good explanation.
Yeah, it isn't like the vampire and the cross are like same ends of a magnet.
Yes,
it's like pushing you.
Which
literally.
is how it feels sometimes.
Yes, exactly. Until it doesn't feel like that, because the plot needs it to change.
Exactly.
Yes.
They're not insects. They're arachnids. They're from the Middle East?
A little bit of funny thing here too. I think it's like in the beginning or whatever. This is after Xander was like in his underwear.
There is a connection. It doesn't sound like anything. What?
Xander, what happened to your...
I don't know. I was just a minute ago.
They go back and they're kind of like describing what happened, because Giles, I think, says, "Where are your clothes? Like, what's going on?" And then Willow's like, "Yeah, he was almost totally naked. It was really bad. No, bad, definitely bad." Like she's like, "Wow!" And the whole thing was a very funny, endearing, like crush on Xander moment. I was down with.
Yeah, it was really bad. It was a bad thing.
Bad thing? I was naked.
There's a moment there where like I almost take it as a mistake, where he's putting the shirt on as he enters the library.
Red alert. Where's Buffy?
And I'm like, where did he get the shirt? Like in the hallway? Was he in no sense of urgency? If he went to like, the gym or wherever the shirt was, like, why wouldn't he put it on right there? That's just the kind of things you would see, just like, we have to display that he didn't have this shirt, he lost his clothes.
So Giles can say, what's up with the clothes? Yeah.
It just felt like
very clear
to me. Yeah, little mistakes are still little mistakes to me.
Okay,
there was a lollipop mistake, I want to say, at one point, where Buffy's like eating a lollipop, and I feel like it went from circle to square, like between two different cuts.
Okay.
She probably just finished the lollipop, and they were still filming, and gave her another lollipop. And then just before we close out, like this ends in kind of a Wizard of Oz-y style, with the like, I had the weirdest dream, and you were there, and you were there, and you were there. Who the hell are you people?
I had the strangest dream. And you were in it, and you. Who are you people?
And I like that, a little homage.
Yeah.
It's funny if you're me.
All right, guys, so that was everything that happened in this episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Let us know in the comments below what you thought about it. Don't die in a fire, and we'll see you next time for episode 11.
Hello, internets. I just love watching JustDaggers. If you've enjoyed this video as much as I have, click that subscribe button. Peace out, homies.